The love spell worked a little too well. Now he won't leave me alone. I met Josh at the end of my sophomore year in college. He was that classic, effortlessly cool guy, psych major, strong jaw, always with a worn-out textbook under his arm, moving through campus like he owned the place. To him, I was probably just another half-smiling face in a crowd of strangers. But for me, I watched him, studied him. He was confident in a way I wasn't, and that pulled me in. I loved the way he seemed to lean into every conversation, like he wanted to really understand people. And that casual smile, like he didn't even realize how it affected people. I was fascinated, obsessed, maybe. There's this little occult shop just off campus that I'd visit sometimes. A bit of a curiosity. Weird jars, dried herbs, all sorts of odd stuff that felt more kitsch than real magic. But one day, I found an old leather-bound book shoved into the bottom of a shelf. Charms and Potions to Influence the Heart. I nearly laughed out loud. But then, flipping through the pages, I found a section on love potions. Just harmless little charms, right? The instructions were ridiculously simple. Some herbs, a few Latin words. But there was one weird detail that stood out. A cleansing ritual meant to remove the caster's own intentions. I laughed it off. I mean, come on. I wasn't desperate. I was just curious. So, back in my apartment, I followed the instructions, skipping the cleansing ritual, obviously. I mixed thyme, rosemary, something called witch's lavender, and a drop of my own blood. Gross, I know. It turned this deep, dark red, thick as syrup. I bottled it up and felt a little ridiculous, but also kind of excited. The next day, there was a campus event, a student fair with free coffee, not exactly thrilling, but hey, free coffee. I spotted Josh there, laughing with some friends, holding a coffee cup. Perfect. I poured a few drops of the potion into his cup when he wasn't looking, heart racing the entire time. He drank it, and I went on with my day. No magical spark or anything, but that would have been too much to hope for, right? Over the next few days, though, things changed. I'd pass him in the library, and he'd do a double take, like he vaguely remembered me. A few times, he lingered in the doorway as if he wanted to say something, his eyes catching mine from across the room. It was thrilling, like my own private little magic trick. Then, one day, he showed up outside my class. Casual, like it was no big deal. "Hey, Emma, right?" he asked, smiling like we were old friends. My name from his mouth felt like an electric shock. He asked what I was studying, if I'd want to grab coffee sometime, and I found myself saying yes, overwhelmed and a little nervous. But wasn't this what I wanted? Soon, though, he started showing up everywhere. The library, the cafe I'd go to after class, even outside my dorm. At first, I thought it was coincidence, but then it became too much. He'd just happened to be there, chuckling like, what are the odds? One evening, I was sitting on the dorm steps, headphones in, trying to enjoy a rare moment of peace, and he suddenly appeared in front of me. "You're hard to find, you know that?" he said, his gaze intense, a little too close. My roommate, Lily, noticed too. "That guy's everywhere," she pointed out one morning, looking out the window to see him waiting by the dorm entrance. She raised an eyebrow, asking if everything was okay. I tried to laugh it off, telling her he was just really into me. But she looked worried, even warned me to be careful. Her concern stuck with me. Was I overthinking it? Was he actually going too far? Things escalated when he started texting constantly, asking why I hadn't replied, where I was, why I was avoiding him. Then, one evening, he showed up unannounced, blocking my path as I tried to get back to my dorm. "You didn't text me back," he said, gripping my arm a little too tightly. I felt pinned in place, heart pounding. "Josh, you're hurting me," I said, trying to pull free. He didn't let go immediately, and for a split second, his eyes flashed with something dark. But then he released me, muttering a quick apology, his gaze still following me as I hurried away. When I got home, I told Lily what happened. She was furious, urging me to cut things off immediately, saying I needed to get help if he kept up this behavior. And that's when I really started regretting the whole thing. This wasn't harmless anymore. It felt like I'd really messed with something I didn't understand. The next morning, Lily was gone. Her bed was made, her things were untouched. No note, no text. I figured she'd left early, maybe gone to a friend's place to cool off. But as the day passed, I started worrying. No one had seen her. My texts went unanswered. Around midnight, there was a knock on my door. I opened it, expecting her, only to find him standing there. His face was shadowed, eyes bloodshot, like he hadn't slept. "Emma," he whispered, stepping inside, voice calm in a way that made my stomach turn. "Where's Lily?" I blurted out, feeling a growing dread. He smiled faintly. "She was in the way," he said softly, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. And now, I'm stuck, wondering how to undo this, if there even is a way to undo it.